Welcome to today's version of EDUCAUSE Demo Day LMS Integrations. I'm your host, Jason Martin. Please use the chat to share comments and ask questions for our presenters. If you would like to use closed captioning, please do so by clicking the Show Captions button on the bottom of the Zoom room. And now please join me in welcoming our presenters from Accredible. Over to you.
Thank you, Jason. Hello, everybody. Really excited to be here and chat with you all today about Accredible and how we are powering the world's credentials. That is sort of our mantra or our vision here, and it's truly words that we live by as a culture, as a company. So if you hear me say it a couple of times today, you know why. So in terms of a quick introduction, my name is Mark. I am an account manager here on our customer success team, joined by my friends Emily and Laura, who are going to help keep me organized and on point today, hopefully. I'm sure they'll be keeping an eye on the chat. Highly encourage everyone to throw questions in there. If I don't answer them live, we're going to have some time at the end to answer them appropriately. And some of our more specific or personalized questions that probably don't make sense to chat through on this conversation, we'll be sure to schedule some time with our team after the demo to have more of a one-to-one centered chat around those personalized questions. So today's conversation is going to be high level, right? It's an overview as to how credentialing can impact not only the learner's experience, but also like how does this affect your organization as a whole? How can we drive program growth? How can we encourage completion rates and empower these learners to really not only share their achievement or celebrate their achievement, but how do we point them in direction to understand that maybe there's some more meat on the bone, maybe there's some other programs that make sense based on their previous learning outcomes. And so I'll have a lot of conversations with customers, especially some of our newer customers that are mostly focused on that learner experience. And then as we continue to talk and as we continue to strategize, it's almost like a light bulb goes off in their head. And they're like, whoa, I had no idea that we're sort of killing two birds with one stone here. Not only am I supporting our learners, but I'm also bringing visibility and light to our brand and to our programs. And really, it's just it's a match made in heaven for both the organization and the learner. So we're going to take a look at two views today. First, we're going to take a look at the learner's perspective. What is their experience in terms of receiving a digital credential, and what can they expect? What can they do with this? And then secondly, we're going to take a look at sort of the back end of the platform. I'll walk you through just how easy it is as an admin to navigate the system. What type of analytics are we going to provide? How are you going to help measure the success of your credentialing program from the credentials perspective? What type of customization is available, and just some other areas that I think are important. But first, it would probably help everyone if we set the scene here. My screen should be sharing, so I'm going to go ahead and walk you through just like who is Accredible and how do we sit in the market. And then I promise we'll get into some credentials, some live looks, and I'm going to make sure I bring the chat up as well, just in case there's anything that I need to stop and pause and highlight as we're in the middle. So Accredible's been around for the last 11 or so years, going on 12. We just hit a huge milestone. We just hit our 100 millionth credential issued, which we had a huge celebration for. We were the first provider in the space to do this, which is extremely exciting for us to partner with over 2,200 organizations across the globe. You can see some of the names that we are super proud of to help support in their credentialing journey, right? And you'll notice that it's a mixture, right? We have some higher ed institutions, we have some associations and memberships, we have some product and professional trainings. Our team will essentially give you the tools, and then it is up to you to then sort of send that off into the wild and create your own credentialing experience with the goals and objectives that you're looking to achieve. We are not the only credentialing provider in the space, and so it's important that we have some key differentiators when it comes to, well, why would I choose Accredible as a credentialing provider in the space? We call it the Accredible Advantage. Just a few things that we wanted to highlight here. We're going to provide you with everything you need to grow your programs, whether that is learning journeys for folks to visualize, encourage them to keep their progress going in some sort of pathway, or some sort of email campaign where we're going to capture their audience in terms of maybe we want to encourage them to share. Maybe you want to encourage them to look at other programs. And so the platform is really built for you to utilize in that sense. For us, it's really important that we put your brand front and center on these credentials. It's important for two reasons. The first being we want to create a comfortable experience for your learners, right? If it's a logo that they're familiar with, if it's a domain, meaning a website that they're familiar with, they're a lot more likely to engage with that credential as opposed to saying maybe Accredible at the top of the credential or maybe housing it on our website, which is credential.net. So we're going to see higher engagement rates because of that. But also, we're talking about program growth. We're talking about sharing. What happens when these individuals get a fully branded credential and they share them out to LinkedIn or Facebook or WhatsApp or whatever social media integration that you would prefer? It's going to be your brand at the forefront, which is going to help drive brand visibility and marketing for the programs that you're offering. And so it's really important for us that we make a very comfortable experience for your learners. How else are we going to drive high engagement rates is through what we call like accept and share credentials with ease. We call that a seamless recipient experience for your learners. So at Accredible, we do not require your learners to create an account with us in order to interact and engage with that credential. And so, they're going to receive an email. I'm going to walk you through here in just 2 seconds in terms of what that looks like. They're going to receive an email, they're going to click a link, and then they're going to be able to interact, share, download, email, fully engage with that credential without having to give up their data, without having to manage a password. We don't want to create any barriers for that learner by asking them to give up their data. And we find that we have high engagement rates because of that. Lastly, customer success plug, partnership beyond the platform. Emily's here as well in the chat. Emily's part of our team. She's part of our implementation team. Our implementation managers will make sure that you're set up for success, understand how to use the platform, and then they'll pass you off to a customer success manager to strategize and understand your goals and objectives on the platform to hopefully help build the best experience possible. So let's take a look first at the learner's perspective, right? We talked about a seamless recipient experience. Let's take a look and see how seamless it really is. I have sent myself a test credential here. It has come from our demo account in the platform. So you can see here it's fully talking about Accredible, Accredible, Accredible. What I want you to understand is this should be your brand. This should be your email domain. This should be your organization's name across. So when you're thinking about this, think of it in that perspective. So I'll go ahead and open up that email. It's going to be coming from your own email address. The subject line is fully customizable. And then your entire email template is customizable as well. So we're going to encourage you to put whatever information you want your learners to capture in this template, right? And each template can be customized based off of the credential that they're earning. And so in this case, we have a couple of images here. We have a little preview of the badge. We have some links encouraging people to share the credential out. You'll notice we have these links here, right? So we talked about a seamless recipient experience. I don't have to create an account to interact with this credential. I go ahead and click that link. It's going to take me to a fully branded credential. And in this case, I pulled up an example from our friends at Rutgers University. If anyone from Rutgers is on the chat, hello. Rutgers has chosen to fully white label their credential. That term gets thrown around a lot in our industry in terms of white labeling. Well, our credentials are white labeled. At Accredible, white labeling means a fully customizable white labeled look and feel to hopefully help match the look and feel of your website. And so you'll notice we have custom headers and footers. So all of the different Rutgers campuses are located here. At the bottom of the page, it's the Rutgers footer with clickable links. The background image, the fonts, the descriptions are all customizable to help set the scene for a Rutgers University branded experience. We talked about housing these credentials on a comfortable setting for your learners. In this case, Rutgers has chosen a custom domain called credentials.rutgers.edu. That is a domain that is specific to Rutgers so that if I am Courtney Saubers here, the earner of this credential, I'm fully immersed in Rutgers. I'm fully comfortable to interact with this credential from here. We like to call ourselves format agnostic, so we do not require you to issue a badge or a certificate only or both. We give you the flexibility in the platform to do as you wish. In this case, Rutgers has issued a badge to this recipient, Courtney here. If we look at University of Illinois. I think I saw someone from Illinois in the chat. So University of Illinois, they have chosen to issue a certificate and a badge on the same credential, right? So you can do a certificate, you can do a badge, or you can do both on the same credential. A lot of times we'll get questions from newer folks in their credentialing journey, like, well, what's the difference between a badge and a certificate? Why would I choose to issue a badge over a certificate? I think there's a few key differentiators when it comes between the two options. The first being a badge is more lower stakes, right? So it's more of an individualized persona when it comes to this is the first step in your journey. Maybe you're doing some sort of micro credentialing strategy. We find that badges are more used for participation. But again, this is your product. This is your taxonomy. This is your ability to create however you would like in terms of a strategy. But what we find in the industry is more lower stakes. And then again, less real estate on this here, right? We don't even have the name of the user here, where we find that the certificates are more meant for, hey, this is a specific achievement. What's the name of the user? We have some authorizing signatures to help encourage the actual certificate of the credential. We scroll down a little bit more here. A lot of folks will ask us as well, why would I issue a digital credential when I can just simply issue a PDF certificate or a badge PNG? You know, you can go into Adobe and make your own. I think there's a few key answers. The first being, we want to empower Courtney here to have some sort of credential that not only is going to tell you, okay, you've earned implementation of inclusive and equitable teaching practices, but as an outsider, let's say I am a potential employer for Courtney, and she provides me with this badge that says that, I don't really understand what that entails. I don't understand the skills and knowledge that are included in that credential. I don't understand the actual description or the earning criteria that she may have needed to complete in order to earn this credential. And so I think with a digital credential, specifically with your own unique URL, we are giving the learner the ability to showcase her talents from a perspective of beyond just the name of a certificate or a badge. We're also going to be able to verify these credentials, not only through Accredible, through a third party, but we're also going to have blockchain verification. And so when I come to this page, right, and nobody is stopping Courtney from going onto her LinkedIn and saying she received X credential from X organization. With a digital credential, we are essentially saying, hey, Accredible, it's done its due diligence. We know that Rutgers University issued this credential through our platform. And then we take it a step further with a unique blockchain ID, right? So you're going to see here the credentials blockchain secured with a unique ID. So it's sort of a double layer of security saying, yes, this is a real credential, as opposed to maybe someone just adding something to their resume falsely. Let's hop over to the University of Illinois' credential as well. Again, fully customizable, custom header and footer. That is our white labeled branding experience. Now, we also have a branded experience, like you can see here from the University of Michigan. Their Nexus engineering program has offered a certificate and a badge here, but you'll notice it's not fully customizable from a header and footer perspective, but we still are giving you that branded experience where it is focused mostly on the university and their own custom domain as well. We talked about program growth. That is obviously something that we hear a lot in terms of goals on the platform. In this case, we also partnered with Get Smarter through MIT. They have chosen to use part of the credential to help promote repeat business, right? So they're offering this discount code to the customer. They are saying, hey, thank you so much for taking this program. We're also going to offer you, because you're a previous customer, there's 10% off future courses. Here's a discount code. By the way, here's a link to our entire portfolio. Here are some other courses that you can engage in because you have taken this program. How do we encourage course completion rates on the platform? How do we encourage people, hey, you've done the first step in your learning journey. Did you know that we also offer X, Y, and Z courses as well? I think University of Pennsylvania, their Wharton Online program does a great job of this on their leadership certificates. And so in this example, Ben Marshall has earned a badge and a certificate in leadership in the 21st century. Directly on the credential, we have a section called Pathways. And Pathways for us is just a way to visualize to Ben that there's other opportunities in your learning journey. Feel free to take whatever path makes the most sense for you in this current moment. And so we have two opportunities. Ben can either enroll in the Executive Leadership Certificate Program or in the Leadership and Management Certificate Program. Now, if we click on View Pathway, we are going to understand what else Ben needs to take in order to earn that final certificate. And so it's a great way to visualize to Ben, but also it's a great way to visualize to Ben's colleagues when he shares that credential out. What else does Ben need to do to earn that final credential? These earn buttons go directly back to the Wharton website to enroll in that same program. So if we're trying to get Ben back, it's a great way to just put an earn button directly on his pathway that says, hey, Ben, you are, I think he's 20% of the way through, 12% of the way through. Nobody wants to see that progress bar not at 100%. So we're hopefully gamifying the system, encouraging Ben to complete their learning journey and sending them back to the Wharton website to enroll in the program. Great opportunity to help encourage course completion rates. I will pause for a second. That is the learner experience that we wanted to highlight. I'm going to hop into the admin side here in a second. But any questions, Laura or Emily, and I'm sure you were answering them in the chat as well, on any of the experiences that we've talked about thus far?
No, Mark, no questions so far. Just a reminder to everyone that is here. We actually do have a question from Sally. Thank you. Is the learner journey part of Accredible? So the pathway that you just demonstrated.
So the visualization of, let me pull it back up. The visualization is part of Accredible. However, we are most likely tapped into one of their LMS solutions. And so as the learner progresses through the LMS journey, they complete that leadership of the 21st century. That's going to send a trigger to Accredible that says, hey, Ben has done this, issue him that credential. But in terms of building the pathway, in terms of visualizing that and tracking progress, that is part of Accredible. Moodle is supported, Sally. Yes, we do have an integration with Moodle where we can set up triggers to send the data over. Absolutely.
I think that's it for now. Thanks, everyone.
Let's take a look. Most of you guys here on the call today are going to be part of what we call an issuer, meaning an organization that's going to be using the Accredible platform in order to issue out these digital credentials. And so we're going to walk through just some of we only have 30, 45 minutes today, so it's not going to be a very in-depth version, but give you just a little taste as to what type of customization you can have directly on our platform. The first step is obviously, right, we looked at all of these credentials. We have these beautiful designs that these organizations have created. Well, how do we create those? We give you a designer tool directly in the product. And so it's up to you to determine, does this credential represent a badge? Does it represent a certificate? Or does it represent both, like we had talked about? So in this case, we'll go ahead and pretend like we're going to create a badge design. Accredible is going to give you a bunch of templates that you can use on your own, right? If you are a Canva user, this should look very familiar to you. Full customization in terms of the colors with hex codes. We give you some templates that should help you out here in terms of building out your own designs, but Accredible will fully provide a designer tool for you to build in terms of badges and certificates. Your implementation team will help you in terms of understanding how to use that as you come on board. And then you'll be able to drag different attributes here, right? So if we look at the University of Illinois, they're using signatures here directly on the credential. Those are attributes within the designer tool that says, okay, anytime we issue this beyond the basics credential, I want to make sure that Jeffrey and Brooks' signatures are listed here. We want to make sure that the name of the student or learner is listed here. And then it flows throughout so that it's a seamless experience. The LMS talks to Accredible, and we pull the attributes that come from the LMS solution. So you have created your design. It looks great. Also to note, we can import images, right? So if you want to build this out, if you guys have extensive marketing teams that can build out these designs in your own tools and your own platforms, and you want to upload that into Accredible, you absolutely can do that. You can upload an image and then drag the specific attributes that are needed directly onto the actual design. So you can do that as well. It generally happens a lot, especially from some of our larger organizations. They have specific brand guidelines that they need to meet. They probably already have these built out internally. So now you have created your design. We now need to map that to the metadata behind the credential. And so all of this data that comes here, the description, the skills, and the knowledge that are included in the credential, that is then built out within a group. And for us, a group is just the name of the credential. And so in this case, Rutgers has implementation of inclusive and equitable teaching. That is part of our groups. And then all of the metadata that is stored within that group will then portray directly out into the credential, which is a great experience. You can continue to duplicate that in a very seamless way as an issuer on the platform. Now we have our design, we have mapped it to the group. Now you can start issuing out credentials. It is really that simple. If you are going to do this through an integration or through your own custom APIs, our APIs are completely open. We have tons of organizations across the globe that are connecting to our APIs, or, like Sally said, you can tap into Moodle or Canvas to help orchestrate that automatic issuance based off of triggers that you set up within the system. It really is a seamless experience. We have some customers that are issuing millions of credentials a year. They don't touch the product after it's set up unless they want to look at the analytics on the back end and say, okay, well, how are we doing? Which we're going to look at here in a second. Data is something that's really important to a lot of our customers. It's usually one of the first things they will ask in terms of the discovery process. Hey, we're looking at issuing digital credentials. What does the data look like? We are going to give you a credential list. It is part of every package that we offer here at Accredible. Our credentials tab you're going to be able to filter down based off of engagement events or based off specific groups. And you'll be able to house that data here and easily access it, right? I'm sure I have sent myself a credential here. So if I just search for my name, all of the credentials that I've issued out to that name would then populate here. Maybe I contacted you as an issuer and said, hey, I lost my credential. Can you resend it? Sure. Click of a button, hit resend. It's going to resend it out to that user as needed. It's a great way for our customers to come in here and say, okay, I want to look at everybody that's viewed my credentials but haven't shared them. There's 757 people here. Well, maybe your marketing team wants to focus on how do we get them to share? We now have a subset of individuals that have earned credentials, looked at them, but for whatever reason hasn't shared. Maybe we need to educate them on why they should share and the benefits of doing that. Emails. We talked about how they are fully customizable, right? In this email that I received from the Accredible demo platform, it is fully customizable in a sense that you can change the fonts, the colors, the images, the links that are listed here. We have a lot of customers that are tailoring their email templates based off of pointing them in the direction of other courses or other programs that make sense. Hey, thanks for completing Introduction to Excel. Did you know that we also offer intermediate Excel and advanced Excel, etc. And they can easily do that directly in there when we have captured that learner. They've just completed it. They're super excited. They're getting this really awesome looking badge that they can then promote themselves with. Why not throw that out there and make sure that they're understanding of the other programs that you have available? Okay, how do we measure the success of your program? It's great that we're offering you this really functional tool. It's great that your users are receiving these credentials. Our analytics suite is designed to help tell you, do your recipients care? Are they interacting with these credentials? If they are interacting with them, what are they doing? Are they downloading the PDF image? Are they sharing to a social media integration? That social media integration, well, where are they sharing to? If it's higher education, a lot of it is shared to that LinkedIn interaction. Wanted to walk you through just how easy it is for the user to interact with LinkedIn in that experience. So I'm back on the University of Illinois credential. Directly on the credential page, I have this share box. And in this share box, we have all of the different integrations that we have with a ton of different social media channels. Again, we find that I would say 85 to 90% of sharing, especially in higher education, is done with LinkedIn. And so we give you this big box here that, again, if it's white labeled, you can customize the color. This is very much matching the brand of the University of Illinois. We give you this box that says, hey, add to my LinkedIn profile. When I click that button, I am given two options. I can either add it to my profile as a license or certification, or I can just directly share it as a post. to my network. And so if I click add to my profile, the integration is going to pull the data directly from the credential. So the name of the credential, the name of the organization, hopefully pulling the logo as well from LinkedIn, the issue date, the expiration date, if there is one. And then again, it's going to have a clickable link so that anyone that comes to my profile will then be able to return back to that page, fully immersed in the Illinois brand in this example. And then if I wanted to send them back directly to a course page to hopefully help encourage them to take that, we absolutely can do that as well. I think the University of Michigan does a great job of that here on their organizational design certificate. Directly on the page, I can click visit course page. That takes me directly to the Michigan website to hopefully enroll in that course or in that program. So our analytics suite is going to give you the data that says, yes, people are sharing. Yes, people are actually getting referred back to your website, and all types of influencer data, et cetera. So let's run through some of the analytics that you'll be able to see directly on the page. Our overview screen is going to give you a credentialing overview. How many groups do you have? How many team members do you have? How many designs do you have? How many credits do you have available, which we can talk about a little bit later in terms of how our pricing is structured. The first step is going to be our engagement tab, right? So we've issued out, this is a demo account. So this is through our Accredible demo account. 1,300 plus credentials have been published. What is our open rate? So in this case, 970 have been opened. That's a 73% open rate. How does that compare to other issuers within the Accredible platform? We're going to let you know, hey, you're doing a great job. It's green. You're 48% above our Accredible average. We take it a step further and tell you, are they engaging with the credential? And so we have this credentials shared and engaged tab. What that means is, are they sharing or are they engaging? An engagement event is anything that may happen on that credential beyond just opening it, right? So did they download it as a PDF? Did they add the badge to their email signature? I'm sure you guys have seen people can add these badges to capture audiences in their email signature. As part of our memberships and associations, we'll put their membership badge directly in their email signature to hopefully help encourage clickable links back to that page. And so here you can see 88% of our shares have come to LinkedIn. 146 people have added it to their profile, just like I had showed you here previously. 37 people have downloaded these credentials as a PDF as well. If we have any marketing folks on the call that are focused on, well, how are we driving that traffic? Our marketing and ROI tools are going to tell you how many people actually were referred back to our website. We talked about it on the Michigan example here. When I click this button, that is technically considered a referral click. I have clicked the button, I'm referred back to the Michigan website, and then from there, obviously that's on the Michigan side to track the journey from there. But our referral click traffic is really a great way to measure, are we generating interest in our programs? Influencers, we're going to help celebrate these folks that are generating the most interest in the programs through the views, through shares on the different social media channels. You can see here Richard Tideman has generated 395 views from his share of his UiPath RPA associate credential. It's a great way to help encourage people to share and say, hey, you're part of our top influencers. We're going to give you some swag or some university store credits, whatever the case may be, for folks that can generate the most interest in those programs. Wanted to also highlight just one additional tool within the product that is a great opportunity to help build community. So if we have any alumni associations from universities on the call today, if you have any exec ed programs on the call today that really want to create a community of credential earners, we have what's called the Spotlight Directory. For us, a Spotlight Directory, fully white labeled again. You can see that custom header, custom footer. This is for stem.org. You have the ability to completely filter down and look through the different credential earners. So if you think about it from an alumni association or volunteering perspective, anyone that has earned a volunteer badge or credential would then be put into this directory to hopefully help encourage community events and say, hey, I did this. You should also come to the next event in X and do that as well. Let's connect on LinkedIn. You can see, people are creating profiles directly within the Accredible platform, linking their LinkedIns and socials to help encourage that community. and then all of their credentials that they've earned would then be listed underneath their profile. From an executive education or professional development or professional education perspective, it's a great way to spotlight or highlight the people that have chosen MIT or Wharton as their exec ed programs to say, hey, these are our esteemed individuals that have earned these credentials. You know, potential employers could come on here, look at them up, and do them as needed. Laura Bessler, if some students do not want others to see their work, do they have an option to keep private? Absolutely, they do. Directly on the, if they would have to create an actual Accredible account for it to help manage their, I'm going to log into mine so you can see how I can just change the privacy setting on the credential. And so when I log into my wallet and I go to my credentials, I have a full list of all the credentials that I've earned here. I can obviously come in here and edit the privacy setting as needed on the credential itself so that they would never be listed out to the public. Similarly, with the Spotlight directory, if you don't want to automatically include, we're obviously GDPR compliant. If you don't want to include your individuals into their directory automatically, you can set it to private so that only folks that opt in would then be eligible or visible in the directory. We obviously don't want to start putting people's information out there without their, consent. So yes. Yeah, definitely not want to do that without their consent. So absolutely, they can set it private. You, as an issuer, can set the credential private as a default so that the only way it could be public would be for the user to do that. Now, I will tell you that will encourage lower engagement rates because if it's private, they're not going to be sharing. But, privacy comes first for sure. You have the ability to fully customize that as needed. I think we wanted to leave like 10 to 15 minutes for questions.
Absolutely. Definitely encourage anyone else with questions to leave these in the chat. We'll go ahead and read them off for Mark to answer in the remaining balance of time that we have together. We did get a question, Mark. What types of messages are we seeing work to get students to share their credentials?
I think, educating people, especially as this credentialing mantra continues to grow, educating individuals as to why they should share is a great opportunity for them to learn why they should. And so what we find is a lot of our customers, I'll take the CFP board as an example, they have created what we call a landing page to educate their learners on why they should share. And so there's, FAQs and tips and tricks as to why they should share. I think including this type of information in your email templates, it says, hey, congratulations. This is your digital credential. We encourage you to share because that will help you earn I think there's a stat that says like 80% of people will somehow generate some sort of career opportunity through sharing. Putting information like that in the email template will certainly encourage someone that's looking for a job or a career to share their credentials. So I think it's important to customize it based off of the person or the persona of the person that is going to be earning that credential.
Awesome. Great. Similar question also about sharing credentials. If we want people to share the certificates and badges that they've earned, do you have to create a badge or a certificate that works for every platform, or can you just create one version that works everywhere it's shared?
Yeah, it's just one version. So in this example here, all of the integrations will then allow you to integrate and share as needed. It does not necessarily matter. It's not like you have to have a specific design for LinkedIn or specific design for Facebook. You don't need to do that. It's a simple integration that will pull the data as needed. Our team has already basically done that for you.
Perfect. And we've got the session poll as well. Thanks for your responses in advance. Another question for you, Mark, as we continue. What are other ways that institutions can use digital credentials if they don't have a certificate program currently running?
Yeah, I think alumni associations for sure is something we're seeing. I think King's College London is doing a great job of engaging their alumni and University of Sydney over in Australia. These are two customers that I work with specifically, so they're off the top of my head. They have these volunteer mentorship mentee programs that they're offering. They are issuing digital credentials to those that are involved in that. You can think of it like, let's say Laura and I are both alumni of Florida Gulf Coast University, which is, where I went to school. So we're going to use them as an example. Let's say I am heavily involved in the Alumni Association and Laura is not. Laura continues to get these emails from the alumni and they just go to her spam and she deletes them. But if Laura sees that I'm involved in these events with FGCU and I'm going to these events and I'm getting these badges that look really awesome and gamifying the system, it's a great way for the university to capture Laura as an alumni to get involved in these volunteering and mentorship programs. And so that is just one additional way that we see this. We see this also with professional development. Florida State University, if my friends from FSU are here, they're also a company I manage. They're doing professional development for their faculty and staff. They're issuing digital credentials to their faculty and staff to hopefully help encourage them to continue their professional development within the human resources department. Same thing with Lone Star College here in Houston. They are also doing it in that sense. Trying to think of some other, off the top of my head, some other use cases in higher education, alumni, professional development, exec ed, professional studies. We're seeing credit bearing. We had a webinar last week with Syracuse University. Credit bearing credentials are coming. Diplomas, we're starting to see bachelor's degrees and master's degrees getting issued out across the platform as well. So ton of different use cases within higher education specifically.
Awesome. All great examples. As we round out our last couple of minutes, definitely encourage anyone to submit any last questions. We've got a few more minutes together through the chat. One question for you, a little broad, Mark. Can you talk a little bit about the experience issuing credentials or managing credentials via an LMS integration? You had talked a little bit about we have some institutions on the platform never really having to touch the Accredible experience until they're looking into the analytics. What does that look like, and what does that kind of serve as a differentiator for us?
Yeah, we have so many different partnerships with LMS providers. I think there are some LMS providers that really make a great experience. I can think of like Canvas, for example. Our Canvas integration, you can essentially iframe the credential directly into the platform on Canvas side. So student learner completes the minimum requirements, the trigger happens, the credential is issued to the email, but also we're going to iframe it directly into the LMS solution. They can share it directly from there. We keep hammering home this thought of, hey, this is a seamless recipient experience. They don't have to create an account. If we can iframe it directly into the LMS, how great for the learner, for the student to be able to just interact from there. As long as we have an integration, again, we talked about having an open API. Even if we don't have an integration, there are Zapier tools. Your developers can tap into our APIs and create a very seamless experience as well. It's very important for us as an organization to create a easy to use product for you to then be able to then say, okay, I'm hands off from here. I'm directly connected, whether that's through APIs or whether that's through the plugins to the integrations that we have. It's really a seamless experience for you as an issuer.
Great. And similar question from Kelly. What differentiates this tool from other tools like Badger, for example?
Yeah, I think we love our friends at Badger as well. I think they have a great product. In terms of Accredible, we talked about that seamless recipient experience. So I'm going to go back to my screen here and we can take a look at this page. Branding, we want to have your own custom domain. So we want to make sure that it's your domain so that your users are very comfortable with that experience. Accept and share credentials with ease. I think that not creating an account will generally increase and improve engagement with the credentials from there. And I think that the customer success side of the house in terms of partnership beyond the platform, I think that we have best-in-class CS type engagement with our customers. We build strong relationships with them from that perspective.
Great. Any other questions as we wrap up?
I saw there was one question about just in general, like the student or the learner's ability to, I just saw a thumbs up come across it. That was really cool. In terms of how does a user, how do they actually get to manage their credentials? And so we will give the user what's called a wallet. I gave you a little preview of my wallet when it came to changing the privacy settings. But if Zoo, for example, wanted to not only highlight this credential of Accelerated Management Development Program, if I click View All Credentials, I then get a view into Zoo's entire portfolio. So what we're finding is students and learners are attaching their wallets to their resumes so that potential employers can come in here and say, okay, let me look at all the skills and knowledge that Zoo in this example has earned. Okay, I can see he's gone to the University of Michigan's Ross Exec Ed program. I can see each individual credential. I can click on each individual credential, understand what Zoo has done here. And it's a great way for Zoo to basically promote himself and promote his learning journey by showing his transcript and his wallet with all of his credentials shown here.
It's a great example. All right, we'll pause maybe for one more minute of questions, and then Jason, we can go ahead and turn it over to you. Great.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all so much. Just a couple of reminders here. Thank you to Accredible and for all of your questions in the audience. Just want to give you a couple of things to think about. We are obviously in our larger day of demos today, so we encourage you to go back to the course site and check out what other demos are coming up. Also, please do take this opportunity to complete the survey that I've done as the Zoom pop-up poll. Here's a little bit of information about what's coming up for us. So we have another EDUCAUSE Demo Day on October 29th, focusing on IAM. Please do check that out. And also want to make sure that you see that you can join us at our next session, which starts in about 3 minutes for LMS. Other than that, thank you all so much. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Emily. We really appreciate it. And I'll stay in the room, but I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Really appreciate it.